Adventures of Irvingman! Look, up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman! Nope, you're all wrong. It's a giant meteor or asteroid, and it's headed straight for Earth.
I wish we could see the blasted thing. At least last night we could see where it was.
It's only flamed up like that when it's past other planets.
That's exactly what I meant before. It zoomed right past Venus and Mars, didn't it?
Ahem.
I was expecting that.
Young Mr. Elson there seems not to realize that the Earth's orbit is between those of Venus and Mars. So if the asteroid has passed those two planets, and in that order, it is speeding away from the Earth and would have to execute a rather impressive turn to come back toward us.
You know, I have Jimmy's high school transcript right here, and you're correct. He failed all the sciences.
I stand vindicated. Good day.
Place in a preheated oven for 20 minutes. Hey, it got rid of him.
Still, it does seem funny we can't see it anymore.
That's because it's so close it's in the shadow of the Earth.
You mean like the moon gets when we have an eclipse? I have news for you. We can still see the moon even when it's eclipsing. Unless this thing has the albedo characteristics of a black hole, it should still be visible. This stuff is what you get when reporters try to science. It's heading straight from Metropolis now, so it's time for Superman to go knock it off course. As I said before, we have really upped our game with the flying effects. That transition from atmosphere to space was impressive. And then we have a cartoon explosion. So much for upping our game anywhere else.
Its motion stopped entirely. It's just floating in space.
No, it'll never hit the Earth. It'll just float out there in its own orbit like a second moon.
If it's in an orbit, then it's still moving. If it's just sitting there in a geosynchronous orbit, metropolisites, metropolitans, metropolanders, they'll be the only people on the planet who can see it. And considering all the people who are standing around staring at it, it's curious that not one of them asks the question, what about Superman? The young lady in the car will pick him up, but we'll discover something important very quickly.
Mr. Kent!
Excuse me, please,
Jeepers, where'd you go? I've been worried sick. What with you not coming to the office since last night, and the chief yelling for you all the time, and all that stuff about Superman going on.
I had these keys. It seemed like the right place to come to. I don't know.
For a show about reporters, everybody in this cast talks too much and doesn't pay attention to what's right in front of their faces. It makes you wonder how the paper survives. Clark has amnesia. He has no idea who he is. Want proof?
What's the matter, Mr. Kent? Gee, you look tired.
Tired? Yes. Yes, I'm tired.
Well, it's no wonder with all this excitement going on. I'll tell you what. Why don't you go and take a good hot shower? I'll run out and get some sandwiches and coffee.
Shower. That's a good idea.
I'll be back right away.
Another 5 seconds and he'd show Jimmy his secret. He has no idea the costume is under there. Incidentally, when I was researching this episode, I saw a lot of complaints asking where the Clark Kent clothes came from. In the comics, he always super compressed his street clothes and tucked them into a pocket in his cape. How he did that with his glasses and wristwatches left to the reader's imagination. The real question isn't where he got the clothes. The real question is how did he know they were there and he was supposed to put them on. Hello, Mom. Remember that time last year when some guy stole my costume? I don't want to get caught like that again, so is there enough of that blanket left to make me about 6 more? By the time Jimmy comes back, Clark is in the shower.
Mr. Kent!
Next thing we know, he's got Clark in bed, and Perry and Lois have just arrived.
I guess he cracked his head pretty hard when he hit the floor.
Jimmy, all that glass.
I know. He must be the luckiest guy that ever lived. Not a scratch.
Probably slipped in a piece of soap. Only why didn't you send for a doctor instead of us?
I was wondering that myself, especially since when Jimmy found him, his throat was lying directly on a sharp piece of glass. Just then, Clark wakes up and starts asking questions.
Don't any of you know me? Please answer me. Who am I?
It depends on what outfit you're wearing, but they don't know that. Good thing Perry can draw on his extensive medical knowledge training. He knows exactly what to do.
Amnesia. He's lost his memory.
Oh, nonsense. Kent, wake up. You're a reporter. You work for me. Now, come on, stop this.
Did I say medical knowledge? I meant meddlesome knowledge. He keeps demanding that Clark snap out of it and come back to work. Isn't it nice to feel so needed you can't even be bedridden without your boss chewing you out over it?
Who are you?
Well, I'm Lois Lane.
You're very pretty. I saw myself in the mirror, so I know I'm handsome, rugged, and strong. Would you like to spend some time creating genetically superior children? Perry keeps chewing him out, but something he said triggered a little zoink in Clark's head.
Who is Superman?
Great Caesar's ghost.
Superman is Great Caesar's ghost? Who's Great Caesar? Is he related to Sid Caesar? The professor at the observatory is still observatorying the meteor. As far as anyone can tell, it's settled into a steady orbit like a second moon. So the Earth is out of danger, right?
There's some government research men, the scientists, and the Weather Bureau flying in this afternoon for a conference. If I'm not back, meet them, will you?
Weather Bureau? Well, where are you going?
See Perry White, the Daily Planet. You know, I think we should have Superman here at the conference. I'm afraid we'll need him. You know, the Earth is still in deadly danger from that asteroid.
Why the Weather Bureau? You do know that the moon has a significant effect on our weather, tides, and lots of other things, yes? How much what for is a second moon going to play with those things? Tides become unpredictable until we can study them for several years and come up with new calculations. Ocean levels rise in swamp cities like New Orleans, hot spots like the Riviera, vulnerable lowlands in India, Bangladesh, and other places. If it isn't already happening, the only reason is because the plot says so.
You say this is where I work? Are you sure?
Well, of course, Mr. Kent. Don't you remember anything?
It's a big city, isn't it? Lots of big buildings.
Guess the chief had the right idea. When you get behind your own desk and start pounding your old typewriter, you'll snap out of it.
Seeing the building, seeing the three of you, none of that has had any effect. But the chief is always right, never mind that his ideas never work.
They say it's going to cross the sun like that nearly every day.
What are you talking about? That's always been up there, hasn't it? It's what they call the moon, isn't it?
That does it. In here.
He doesn't even know what the moon is, guys. But no matter, Perry has the solution.
Kent, I want to see you.
Well, that's me. Yes, sir?
Oh, wait. Chief, it's hopeless. All you can do is get him a good doctor.
I'm no time for that.
Let me rephrase that. Perry always tries the same solution, bully it into submission. He drags them all into Clark's office and says, I need you to find Superman.
Well, do you know what he looks like, sir?
Now, see here, Kent.
I told you, Chief, it's useless.
I'll help you, Mr. White. I was supposed to cover the flower
Be
show for
quiet,
the
be
next...
quiet. Kent, the whole world needs him, don't you understand? They need him in a hurry.
I really want him to have a heart attack. Not a fatal one, maybe one like I had. Just enough to force him to retire from being the world's biggest hat. He's going on about the world coming to an end, but he's not saying anything. Lois chases him into his office and demands to know more. As I suspected, issues with tidal waves, insane weather, earthquakes, and all kinds of other things are popping up all over the world.
Does it have something to do with the asteroid that Superman stopped?
Well, Superman just sidetracked it. That's the trouble. It should have been destroyed. You see, its gravitational influence is upsetting the Earth's rotation.
Upsetting it how? Speeding it up so the day is shorter? Slowing it down so the day is longer? We need to know so we can build new clocks. Lois says, an asteroid can do all that?
Well, what other explanation can there be? That thing up there might disturb the balance of the entire solar system. I don't know.
The entire solar system? How would one asteroid do that? We have rogue asteroids all over the sky, orbiting the sun and minding their own business. We have an entire belt of asteroids between Mars and Jupiter. We have comets of every shape and size zooming all over the place, and none of them has the mass to upset the balance of the entire solar system. If he doesn't realize that, I want another look at his credentials.
Where's Kent?
He went home. I'm pretty worried about him, Chief.
You're worried about him. I'm worried about Superman.
Well, I guess we're all pretty worried about Superman.
Well, we better be. If he doesn't turn up, we're finished, that's all.
Your concern for Superman's well-being touches my heart, Perry. Clark is at home studying the Superman outfit he found in the secret closet when Jimmy arrives to check on him.
I've been thinking about Superman. Do you suppose it's his costume that gives him this peculiar power?
I don't follow you.
You know what I mean. They haven't been able to find him, and they've got to. The world may not last another day. But suppose someone else found his costume.
No, wait, Mr. Kent, that's not right.
It sure didn't work for the last guy who found it. Jimmy says, Superman explained it to me once. The suit has nothing to do with it. He can do super things because he's Superman. That's what Clark needed to know. He sort of gives Jimmy the bum's rush and puts the costume on, though he forgot to take his glasses off. It's not helping. He still has no idea who he is or what to do next.
Professor Roberts.
The key to getting his memory back was break something. Just go with it. He flies to the observatory where the professor has an atomic bomb big enough to destroy the asteroid, but Superman is the only delivery system they have. Bruce Willis wouldn't even be born for another 2 years.
Now, nothing can happen until you set the controls. After you reach the asteroid, throw the first switch.
This one here.
That's right. That'll start the chain reaction. Then 5 seconds later, throw the main switch.
That does it.
That's right.
But he's going to foreshadow Bruce Willis because he has to detonate this thing by hand. Professor, I want you to explain to me why you can't put all that on a timer. He can set it when he gets there and get safely away before it goes off. The materials to do that would probably cost an extra $2.
Goodbye, Professor. Miss Lane, everyone.
You sound as though you don't expect to come back.
I may not.
You had a pretty rough time of it before.
How does he know that?
The asteroid was burning then, but since you changed its orbit, it's cooled. Now, perhaps the elements that almost destroyed you were altered in the cooling process. I don't know. It's just a chance, nothing more.
I repeat, how does he know there were elements that almost destroyed Superman? For that matter, how does he know Superman was almost destroyed? He wasn't. I think he's a professor of clairvoyance, and that's how he knows these things. It explains why his astronomy degree looks like it came off a mimeograph machine. Superman flies up, lands on the asteroid, plants the bomb, has a tearful goodbye with, oh, I keep getting those two mixed up! It appears the professor was correct about those elements because Superman is fine. In fact, he's better than fine. He's got all his memory back.
Thus, the asteroid was completely disintegrated and the world saved from possible destruction due to its influence. Superman, who was slightly injured by his first collision in space, seemed to be completely recovered when he returned to Earth. Probably it was the second blow that... Wait a minute. How do you know all that?
He talks to Superman, remember? Even Perry said he's the only person in the world who knows how to contact Superman, so why wouldn't Superman have given him the story?
Oh, didn't I tell you? I have my memory back again now.
Really, Clark? Just because you got hit on the head is no sign that's what happened to Superman.
Why not? I think we have something in common. As a matter of fact, I know we do. You see, I know who he is now, too.
Oh, you do? Well, come on, who?
Oh, just knock me on the head sometime. You'll find out.
He's got all his memory back, including his memory of what a jerk he is to Lois. And that's good, because I thought George Reeves' performance as an amnesiac was terrible. He so underplayed everything, it was like he was only about half there. I wasn't convinced. Now, The disdainful schmuck who obviously sees Lois as a toy to be played with, he's got that down pat. Thanks for watching, kids, and remember, clicking that like button is cool, subscribing is even cooler, leaving a comment is as cool as the coolest person you know, and becoming a patron makes you almost just like Superman. So don't hesitate. Do it today. Until next time.